Hey, hey. Good evening. Good evening, everybody. And this is Sandy Shellis, and I am welcoming you to a not planned environmental coffee house. And let's see how it goes. No green screen, no nothing. Just some music and some talk about what you guys are going to answer as far as the question of the night, which is if you could rid the earth of one thing, what would it be? And I'm going to start and I'm going to say hi to everybody. Hi, Kevin Hester. This is really a treat from New Zealand. Kevin Hester. He's a star. He's a star. Kevin's here, and Yumin and Kim and Rich. House passed the extra $1,400. Senate votes on it tomorrow. Yeah, if we see it. Greed is worshipped. Yes, Keith, it is. It sure is. I have a better half a 2-hour show on this. Well, I do have a link if anybody wants to join, but not yet. Not yet, because I am going to talk about what I want to do. All right. And I'm going to tell you what thing I would rid the earth of. All right. The first, what I would do. Okay. And I put a lot of thought into this. All right. Here we go. So, in my opinion, right, organized religion is what I'd get rid of. And I'm not talking about erasing like God or even erasing the concept of a divine being. But I'd get rid of those brand name, the brand name corporate big churches that take wealth from the poor and pay no taxes while inciting every kind of social controversy and prejudice there is. And they spread war and they spread terrorism all over the globe. I would get rid of organized religion. And I have no idea how many organized, recognized religions there are. But let's consider the three big ones, the three name brains, the big ones. The three club whose executive members all claim to have exclusive knowledge of the true nature, behavior, and the will of the divine who created all things, all knowing. Ask them for an objective evidence to support their claim. That would stand up in a court of law, right? And what are you going to get? You'll either be denounced as a blasphemer, deserving of eternal torture, or you'll get a lecture on faith. Well, you could be executed if you ask the wrong member of the wrong club. But that's after this, they show you their book of holy words written by ancient people who are supposed to, have been under the direct supervision of the divine being. Not the other brand's divine being, but their brand of divine being. Can you imagine a greater form of arrogance or self-righteousness? And I bet you can't. Nope. And this is despite the fact that each club is completely aware of the other major clubs making the same claim. And despite their awareness of hundreds of religions that have passed through our civilizations, human civilizations, since we started leaving cave paintings and stone monoliths, and the archaeologists found them all, right? Or a lot of them. So the biggest despite of all of this is the existence of all the conflicting variations within each name brand, right? Are you Orthodox? Are you Reformed? Protestant, Catholic, Sunni, or Shiite? And which club of Reformed do you belong to? Which brand of Sunni? Are you Baptist or are you Southern Baptist? Or are you Methodist? Dancing Baptist? It matters. It really matters. It matters so much that if you're a member of the wrong subset of your club, you know what? You could wake up with a bomb in your underwear, or you could find yourself disinvited to the hereafter, which will naturally result in being tormented by demons for all eternity. And all for having the nerve to hang around with the wrong sub brand of the right name brand. So why? Why all these different name brands and sub brands and sub brands? Because there is no objective support for any of them. Just like there's no objective support for Druidism or sun worship. And yet these name brand corporations and their subdivisions are allowed to insert their beliefs into the lives of every living soul on this planet in some form or another. They build castles and they buy private jets for their corporate executives from the money they take from the poor by threatening them with eternal damnation. If they don't agree, if they don't think exactly like they're told, basically, or they start wars, or they start terrorism, again, using the poor and mentally ill to carry their name brand hate to distant places. They manipulate our elected officials who are supposed to provide service to all of their constituents, not just the ones who voted for them or those who support the same name brand of faith. They're allowed to do all of this while paying no taxes and receiving no oversight, and all on the basis of claims with no justification whatsoever. So my opinion, get rid of name brands and let people find the divine for themselves, as long as they do it without hurting anyone else. The ones, that can't manage that, you throw in the loony bin with the other Messiah complex nutbags. So there you have it. That's my thoughts. That's what I like. That's what I say. Okay. So now that you've heard me for 12 minutes, and I hope I didn't offend anybody. I might have. I don't like the collection plate. I don't like the big churches. Exactly. It's exactly. And like Euban says, all religions are the same. Hi, Poppy. Poppy says tax religion. It's not beating up on... I'm not beating up on those people, per se, at all. They're just, again, they're sheep. They're sheep because they're following a Messiah that really doesn't exist, like Joel Osteen. Oh, Keith Hayes. Joel Osteen's Lakewood Church received 4.4 million COVID-19 PPP loan. For what? So he could fly some more places with extra expensive masks. Hi, Chicken Patty. Keith, I like what you're saying. It's a social club that has little to do with God. That's right. We should worship in our own way. Not have to go to some brick and mortar building. Not have to sit there and look at smug people. And, can you tell I don't like it? I don't like the idolatry of the Catholic Church. I get sick from their incense. No, I'm just not obviously, I'm not a Catholic Church one. I don't know. Anyway, so what do you guys have to say? And I'm going to put the link up if anybody wants to come on. Copy the link. We'll see if it works. I'll put it in there. My unplanned show will probably go a whole lot better than my planned show. Yes, Chicken Patty. It's nice to see you guys on a night that I didn't plan anything. Basically, I was in the car coming home from a pedicure, believe it or not. And I looked at Kim's Facebook. Kim Centeno, her Facebook, and she had this meme, and I liked it. I thought it was great. Let me see if I can make it a little bigger. Yep. No, I can move it around and make it bigger. See? Wait. Okay. There you go. But I liked it, so I thought I'm going to make a show out of it. I got nothing to do tonight. I have to keep my mind off unfortunate events in life that really, really suck. And so I'm here with you guys. So let's see what you're saying. Nobody wants to come on with me. Hi, Dee Dee Sunbeam. So nobody wants to come on with me? Come on. What else? It's not all about church. I mean, there's other things people want to get rid of. What would you be? I know that one person made a comment because I put this picture up on the community page, and one person said it would be nuclear power, and I thought, oh, okay, nuclear power, you know, okay, that's what you want to get rid of. So come on, guys, let's talk. And no one wants to come in with me. I'll put it on again. It's okay if you don't want to come in with me. I get it. You can be shy. It's really okay. So, all right. So I did my little diatribe on organized religion, and you know, and not maybe not so much some of these little churches where I live. They're just little churches, that community that get together. I don't know what goes on in them. I don't go to church. My Amish neighbors, they go to each other's homes. Oh boy, let's see. Kevin said, Scott Andrews, my mom described herself in her 80s as a former prisoner of the Catholic Church. Unbelievable. Well, oh, you're going to message Brian? Yeah, Brian definitely. He thinks the same way. Brian Weinstein from Divided We Stand, formerly of Head in the Box. We have a lot of the same thoughts, you know, a lot of the same things. We're the same age. God, age. Let's see, if I could rid the earth of one thing, what would it be? Aging? No. I think I'm going to put on some music in the background. Let's hear some music in the background tonight, see how that is. Let's play. We could get rid of overshoot, but it would just return. They do anyway, human. What are you guys talking about? Oh, highways and bridges. Oh, that's a good one. Highways and bridges. That's a good one. Highways and bridges, and then that would mean fossil fuels. So there's the guy on that made the comment on the page, and you know what? I don't know if I could get it. Let me see if I can get it on my phone. Probably not. All right, listen. We get some music. Can you hear it? Yeah, we get some good music. Hi, Errol. All right, Errol from the Bronx is with us. Hello, Errol. Welcome, Errol. If there's something on this earth you could get rid of, what would it be? And we're listening to music tonight. Come on with me, Chicken Patty. I gave you guys the link. I want to hear. All right, let me see some more comments. Highways and bridges. All right. How about this? I'm going to go a bit contrarian and point out that every small town on every isolated island has a church. There, the organization is local and the focus is on people's lives, no doubt. Absolutely. That's why I said about here it's different. There's no mega churches. There's no disgusting, there's no grossness. Ugh. Okay, Poppy. Poppy, peace. We love Poppy. I wish I had a kiss noise. I need to get a kiss noise, I guess. It would be nice. Keith, you're right. Inequality. Why don't you come on, Keith? You went on the natural progressive, for God's sakes. Come on with me. Cindy, greed. Greed. If you could get rid of one thing, what would it be? It would be greed. Now, how do you get rid of that in a human being? How do you get rid of it? Is it something genetic? Is it in DNA? I wonder if there are DNA strands of greed. There might be. There might be. Hate would be another thing. So what we're looking at now are human emotions that we don't like to get rid of. You know? And that's an interesting take because I don't think I saw that. I saw a lot of, on the answers, a lot of material things, all that, but this is interesting. Hi, Gregory. Gregory says dogma. Welcome. Welcome. Gregory says dogma. Keith, you're just the star. If people are more equal, they will become spiritual enough not to have to worry about future generations. There you go. Billy Joe's here. This would sound negative, but 99% of the human population of the earth would be a good start. Lest we be called doomers. There was this whole big thing on Twitter. I'm in the Twitter sphere with like George Sacralitis and Black Bear News and TCR Galaxy. There's a whole bunch of us, right? And somebody, we've been relegated to like doomer status, although I don't feel like a doomer and I don't advocate eradication of the human race. I don't do that at all. But, you get relegated into a place. I used to joke about the doomosphere. So on Twitter, this dude comes on and he says that doomers are oh, I wish I could find it. Maybe I could pull it up. Doomers are like pretty bad people, And I took a screenshot of the word bad and I said, geez, I really don't think that goes, and there was a back and forth, but I think if I could get rid of one thing besides religion, it might be Twitter. It might be Twitter. Oh, you grow up heavy into religion. It messed you up. But it also helped you define who you were. See, I've pretty much been an atheist since I was a kid, and I've been to funerals and services, and I went to a temple with my lawyer friend. She took me for Passover. I've been to Christmas Catholic churches. I've been to like everything. I've been to ashram in Los Angeles, and I don't consider that, as long as they're not taking big money from people, Oh, and on Twitter that night, that Twitter feed, they were calling people grifters, okay? That they were calling doomers. Like, I don't know if he was specifically mentioning the channel, but he had put up that article in the New York Times that talked about Jem Bendell and deep adaptation as so horrible. And it was just, I don't even have the article. I'm not pulling it up. Now, if there's anything I'm not, is a fucking grifter. We're not monetized. I put up a little thing on the page that, oh gee, if you want to give us a gift for the internet, because quite frankly, I'm fucking broke and the internet's expensive and doing this show is not cheap, but I love it. And if I didn't have it, I don't know, I'm not whining, but I'm not a grifter. And I don't think anybody else is a grifter for making a living. Thing is, you have to be careful on that line of making a living on doom. But there are those like my brother Sam. I don't look at him as a grifter. He said for years, and he was the only one out there doing the news that nobody else did. And he worked hard at it. And he used to tell me, Sandy, you should get paid for what you do on Facebook and all that stuff. And I'm like, no, I'm fucked up. I'm disabled. I'm not going to get paid. This is a hobby. I love it. And at least I'm learning stuff, right? I'm learning all kinds of things. It's great. So let's get back to this. It's not about me. It's about, if you could get rid of one thing, what would it be? Hi, Void. Drew, Void. You said unborn babies have microplastics, born pre-polluted equals grifters. Plastic. That's a popular one on this. It is, definitely. Eco doom unborn babies equals grifters. You're funny. Well, I don't like the word grifter unless it's got Trump in it. And that whole bunch of, and listen, I will be reporting on this Biden administration. I don't have enough information now. I'm going to be following And of course, who the fuck is happy with the choice to bring in a Monsanto exec or lobbyist or whoever the fuck he is for the Department of Agriculture? That, the EPA, I'm going to watch EPA, I'm going to watch energy. I wasn't sure why he brought Granholm in other than the fact that she comes from Detroit. And what do they want to change over to electric cars? I don't think that was a good energy pick, in my opinion. Somebody that knows about energy, alternative energy, not a governor of a state that just happened to have auto manufacturing. I'm not sure I like some of these picks, but we can be vocal. We can be vocal just like most of the other talking heads. Only I'm not vicious vocal. I talk policy, and that's how it should be. Demoralizing Donald Trump America. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of off the earth. Let's get rid of QAnon. How's that? Let's get rid of QAnon. Yay! Let's get rid of QAnon. What else? Yep, okay. You've got some good ones. Thousands of different PFAS chemicals emerged over the following decades. Grifters. Right. They're all grifters. Those son of a bitches. Because they lied. They lied to us. All right, wait. CB said something. I gotta find you. Errol, you'd love to rid the world of Trump. Well, hopefully he's gonna rid himself. But it's not just Trump. It's what he stands for. I'd love to rid the world of racism. Wouldn't that be a beautiful thing? Getting rid of religion might get rid of some racism. I'm sorry. And you know what? I've been to black churches, and they never struck me as the same as those big, idiotic friggin' churches, which I've been to. Christian Center. We used to go to the Southtowns Christian Center when I was married to my first husband. He was in a motorcycle club, and we are the reverend of the club. There was a reverend of the club. And in our chapter, we used to go to church on Sundays with the Rev. We'd all ride the Harleys there, park at that, but it was a big Christian center. And it was just like a mini, a mini whatever you say. It was a Christian center. And the only thing I liked about it was the music. The music wasn't so bad. And at the time, I thought my ex-husband, it might help him, because I seem to have really bad taste in men, and they're all angry. Angry. Well, the two of them that I've married seem to be very angry. I think I'd rid the world, the earth, of anger. Maybe that would be one emotion I would like to get rid of. Anger. Yeah. Married to angers. Every negative human trait is embodied in Trump. Yeah, there you go. You're right. You're right. Oh, if you eat mussels, you get microplastics, grifters. Yeah, everybody, I think you're right. Money is the root of all evil. Okay, let's dump it. Let's get rid of money. See, this is a good show. It's getting everybody excited. Kim, I'm really glad that you found this meme. I think Monday night should be meme show. And then we could talk about the whatever stupid is. But this wasn't stupid. It's really hard for me to do some of these really intense shows that I do and put so much time together. It's a lot of work for me that sometimes it hurts. Like last night when it didn't go off right with the video that took me 8 hours, and the audio was screwed up. I need to fix the audio. I need some kind of mixing thing besides the shit I have. I could share. I'm afraid to even screen share for you to see what it looks like. I don't know how to screen share. I've never screen shared. Let me see. I'm scared to. Should I try? Okay, let's see what happens. Nothing. Oh, God. Oh, well, that wasn't really, oh, let's see. Keith, Doom will not make you rich anyway. A successful Doom channel is doing good if they have 1,000 followers. Okay, well, I'd say we're not doomy, and we have 2,000. Oh, it changed. We had 2,000, 2.17, right? 2,170, I think. And then today I looked, and I don't look at analytics. Who fucking has time for that? It was 2,000, but it was right in my face. 2,160. Where'd 10 people go? Do they not like me? You know, I always get, look, I already have 2 thumbs down. These people. Well, it's okay. If you're offended, get off the show. If you're offended, why are you here? I said what I felt. Cindy's right. Hi, Sin City. Yep. Hate. So we have all these like emotions to get rid of off the earth, right? How do we do that? Then we train. How do we do that? Is it DNA? Is it Is it how you are at birth? Are you born with all of these things, or do you acquire them? Children are so mean to each other. You know, think about it. I remember 3-year-olds fighting. What is it about humans? Brian might be coming, and then he might join the show. Oh, if Brian Weinstein comes and joins the show, I gotta put the link in again. Oh shit, this would be great, because Brian is so smart. He's so smart. He does the show with Dave. It's a very political show. You know, we're all not the same politically, but that's okay. I'm hanging on. I don't know if he's coming. We'll see. But that's okay. If you don't like it and you don't want to listen to him, don't listen to him. If you don't like Jimmy Dore, don't listen to him. If you don't like, what's his name? Tom Hartman, don't listen to him. I listen to who I like, but I have to listen because of being here to a wide variety of different voices. And sometimes I have to watch MSNBC or I have to watch Fox, just only to understand what these people are talking about. Rich, fight or flight is very human. Rich, you're a beautiful person, by the way. I think about you. Generosity and big heart. Dave is behaving recently. Yeah, Dave's a character. Dave is, he's a character. Oh, Keith, this is an interesting take. I don't want to get rid of anger because it gives you clarity. Because you understand that. You understand that it gives you clarity. There are people like the 2 I married that don't understand anything about anger other than they are. Okay, let's see. Microsoft. No, it's cultural and social imprinting. Yeah, just look at our history. Humans of every ideological mindset and ideological can exist, and the proof is they have existed. Wait, let me see if I can make these a little bigger. I friggin' can't read anything. All right. So, hi, Dan. Oh, my God. How are you? Jan's here in Sin City. This is great. You're all coming from Nicole Sandler, and I love Nicole Sandler. She is my favorite every single day. I'm a mod on her show. She's political. She's a progressive, but to me, she is a level-headed progressive. And Nicole has a show from 5 o'clock every day Eastern time to 6 o'clock. She's amazing, Nicole Sandler. Nicole has been a professional DJ for like 40 years. I mean, I have this little shit setup. She's such a pro. And she gets so upset when she has technical difficulties or something, and she shouldn't. She should just go right past it and go. She gets too upset, and that upsets me. I don't want her to get upset. She needs really like an assistant, because she goes live on Progressive Voices Radio and Twitch. I mean, she goes live on all these different things. I tried to multi-stream on Facebook, and the whole goddamn thing crashed last night. Hi, Jan Morgan. Yes, she is. She is. And she painted me a picture. Hang on. I'm going to go get it. Hang on. All right. I asked her to do something nice for me, to be like, because I live very rurally, and she's painting for people, and she's amazing. You've never seen Nicole Sandler? Okay, 5 o'clock every day. She's really cool. And you know what? She's not a hater. She's not a hater. Okay, she wrote me a beautiful note, and everything's falling out. She has a little look at Nicole Sandler. Oh, that cute. With her card. I love her. And we actually know some people, the same people. All right. I worked with a gal that grew up with Nicole. Really funny. So here it is. Now, that is lovely. And you see the colors and all. She's just learning how to do this. And I'm going to frame this. I'm going to frame it because I have a creek. And my creek may not go like this exactly on my property, but I have a creek that I am the steward of. I own the property on a paper, but I don't own it. I just take care of it. I just respect it. I love it. I like to lay on the ground in the summer and do the earthing and the grounding and try to get the energy through my body. That's what I do in my garden. Although I lay on a yoga mat, but you know what? A lot of times I got rid of the yoga mat and just laid on the dirt. Who cares? Who really cares? Okay, so, yes, Dan, Nicole needs an assistant. I should have invited her to this show. So let's get back to the question. If you could rid the earth of one thing, what would it be? Let's look back and see anybody that's I missed. Oh, okay. John D. I'd get rid of lies and misinformation so all can see the emperors have no clothes and all politicians and salesmen, advertisers, bankers are reduced to the integrity of the orange one. Thanks, John. Thanks. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, that's pretty good. I like that one. I like the music too. Hi, Lisa. Lisa says, let's get rid of the two people who did the thumbs down. All right. Listen, I get thumbs down all the time. I think there are people that just follow us and thumbs down because Kevin gets thumbs down on Black Bear News and Chris. I mean, everybody does. You know, it's just a thing. The thumb shit. You know, I used to not even show that. I didn't think about it. I didn't care. And then somebody says, well, Sam, if you show the thumbs, somehow you get out there. I don't get out there. I am so in this box, in this teeny weeny corner on YouTube. I don't even get 500 views. And who cares? It's quality over quantity. I used to get, listen, quite frankly, I'm going to tell you something. I like to get rid of, how do you say it? Maybe judgment. I will tell you the truth. If I was sitting here and I was like my 35-year-old self, I'd have a bigger audience. It's the way it is. It doesn't matter. That's what I noticed. And as I've gone through this, through the years, even though my stuff's gotten better, it's gone down. I'm getting older. Sometimes people don't want to look at an old broad. And it's true. And I'm not making anything up because I'm very intuitive. And I'm not putting myself down. It's just what I've noticed. And it's okay. The old guys, people watch the old guys. They do. Double standard. So what would I get rid of? What do you call that? I don't know what you call it. What would I get rid of? Well, self-conscious. You know, we'd get rid of a lot of the human emotions and want the best, right? Yeah. Oh, and Brian is going to come. All right. How long have we been on? 39 minutes. Oh, it's going to be a long show. Well, okay, so we'll do an hour talk show today. I have been trying to keep them down to half an hour. Hi, Anita. Dee Dee, agree. Could we all add life to the mix, extinguish everything that breathes? Then there would be peace. Brian, are you in the house? I'm going to give you if you want to come live with me. This was such a good one. And Brian, I don't know if you heard my whole thing on religion. That's what I would get rid of. And I had a whole prepared thing. And because basically that's how I feel. And we've been talking and we have 32 people left with us. Yeah, I just put the link in there. Do you see it? I'll put it in again. Okay, and we'll see how it looks. I'd like to bring you in, but I got to hear the noise. Let me turn the song off. Okay, we got Brian. Look at this. Welcome, Brian.
Good
Hi.
evening. Well, I've
Good
got you. I got to turn off
evening.
your. I got to turn off your
Okay, why
program
is
from
your
the
name?
computer.
Your name is not there. Where do I
My
get?
keyboard was set to Russian, and I didn't even want to take time to change it right now. I go back and forth during the day. I do my Russian thing. So,
All right. Well, welcome, Brian
Boris,
Weinstein from
right?
Divided We Stand. It's great to have you here with us. And Brian, I already did my whole spiel
Well,
on
I
what would
actually,
you
I'll be
get
honest
rid
with you. I
of.
didn't actually see your show. I just sent
I
in a.
know. You know why? Because you and I think the same. You answered the same thing. What is it that you would get rid of? And
Yeah, definitely
the graphic is if you could get, I'll put it right in the middle of us because you have the same software I do, so we know we can do this.
the capacity
Although
software.
you are way better and I need to pick
No,
your
no,
brain.
no,
And
no. There's
look how good
there's
your
no
coloring is.
competition in this.
No, I want to learn.
So, oh, you
You're
know
the
what?
one that
I
I
want.
come to when I have a problem. All right.
Uh, I
If
was just downloading. Hold on, let me 1 second. Let me just turn off my.
That's fine.
I want to use a direct connection here. Okay.
This is an anything goes
All right.
show.
It
And
should
I
be.
am like so excited. Your coloring is really good. See, I got to pick his brain. He teaches me. He's the reason why I got Ecamm, which is our software, which I freaking love Ecamm. I could
Yeah,
put your
Ecam's
Russian
great.
name. I could put your Russian name up there. Let's see
That's
how to.
buddies. It's just,
Oh,
and
it's
when I had Russian
tiny.
class in
It's
college,
too small.
buddies. It is.
Okay. Yeah, I can't even put it up. It's too small. Would I have to
I'll have to
edit it?
change my keyboard again, but
Oh, wait.
it won't matter.
It's tiny little. I can't put it up there. It's so tiny little. Nobody can see it. Brian,
Yes.
if you could rid the earth of one thing, what would it be?
Well, I mean, obviously there are a
You
lot of. The first thing that came to my mind, which is, I assume, is what you're asking, because if people really think about it, sometimes you drive yourself nuts because you need to undo what you're thinking. But I'd say religion would be number one because,
Yay! That's what I said.
right, and this isn't a knock on people who are spiritual, or religious, or whatever you want to call it, but in a certain way it is, because I think all of the other things that we worry about, like for example, overpopulation, greed, treatment of sentient beings, animals, um, it really suffers from the three major religions, if not all of them. You
Mm-hmm.
know, um, I'm not saying that it's the worst thing in the world, but it has caused the worst thing in the world. So I think you have to go at that first. I don't know what else you would do. I mean, if you think about it, whether it's the library in Alexandria, I think if it was what's his name, Cosmos, Sagan. Okay, I forgot it.
Carl Sagan.
Yeah, Carl Sagan, and he mentions, in Cosmos, what would have happened if you had the libraries in Alexandria and they hadn't been, destroyed, and what would have happened if we had the Dark Age? We probably would have had computers, maybe in the 1700s or 1800s. And if you think about all that lost time, we really were.
Really?
Well, absolutely. I think, if you look at it, either somewhere around Lincoln's time or Washington's time, we probably would have had the personal computer. Probably would have been to the moon long before this.
Wow.
I mean, it's just simple logic. The fact that they've always slowed things down, and science has always been seemed to have been the enemy. Um, Religion relies basically on emotion rather than logic. Yeah, I would say that would be the number one thing to go, and a lot of people aren't going to like that.
No.
Some
But
people,
but here everybody did because they understood. I had a big diatribe. Somebody else trying to get in. Your channel is called Divided We Stand. I'm putting it up so people can see it. Who is trying to get in? I hope I can try to fit 3 people. Let's see. I'll add Keith. Hey. Hi. Okay, you're in. But you look frozen. Are you frozen? He looks frozen. I got to take him out. How do I take him out, Brian? Oh, he's not frozen. Can you hear us, Keith?
you're using the eCam interview mode, correct?
Yeah. Oh, I see
Yeah.
the red X. I think that even though I got the signal booster, I still only have an upload speed of, let's say, what is it, 19? 20. I mean, it's horrible. And so now I have 3 guests, so I hope he's going to be all right. Keith, can you hear us? Uh-oh. I can't hear you. Let me see. You're not muted. He's not
You can also
muted.
do both ends of the wire, so to speak. So
It could
it can
be
be.
his side.
But it
Oh.
could be. Depends on what he's running too. But yours will affect it too. But it's not easy. It
All right,
also
Keith,
what you have running in the
I'm gonna take
background.
you out, figure out what's wrong with what's the problem with the audio. Can't hear you. We love you, but we can't hear you. Can't hear you. All right, I don't want to. He's got to figure out something with his audio, so I took him off because I want to talk to you. And then Keith, you come back. All right. So where were we?
We're talking about religion, and I was mentioning, had we not had religion, perhaps we would have had a lot of the scientific discoveries that we needed long ago. We would have had it probably 200 or 300 years in advance. I mean, I don't know the exact
That's
time period,
fascinating,
but
though, to think about.
I'm losing.
That's it. That's really fascinating. Think about.
Right. Well, it's like anything that's stunted. You'll see what happens to us all. Like when it takes us too long to learn something. What happens? And sometimes it's too late.
Yeah. Well, poor Keith. Keith, it's not
His
working.
video looks all right.
His video looks great, but I can't hear him, and I have everything here with my little nothing sound, nothing.
Just when you look at the interview mode, the bars there.
Oh yeah, the bar's all the way through.
He's fine.
He's on.
When he talks,
Yeah.
does that register? No.
Keith, can you hear me? Talk.
He's gonna have to check on his end, the microphone,
Okay.
and make sure
All
all
right.
the settings.
Check your microphone. I would get rid of bad.
There's a settings wheel in
I
eCam that he
would
can
get-
look at too.
that I can. Which one?
He can. I mean,
oh, he can.
yeah, when he's in this
Oh yeah, that's right.
format, there'll be a wheel, and he's got to look at it to make sure. He should actually tell you which microphone, if it's showing up. Obviously, the video is showing up,
Yeah.
but
Maybe
but
he'll
I don't know
figure it
much
out.
more than that.
All right. Well, yeah, you do because you're always the helper on eCam, and I love eCam. And we're nerds. But do you watch their stuff? Do you watch Glenn and the other guy, the developers?
Glenn, they're wonderful.
I
Wonderful
love
guys.
them, and
They're
I
so
learn
nice.
from them. Yeah, and they do everything you ask. You write in, you say I want this, and they freaking develop it. And
Right.
they're so great. And the other day I watched them, guys. This is just a little geek talk. They were together, but they were apart. They were in different places, but they looked like they were together in the same room. Oh my God, I want to do that with Jennifer, but with me, everything crashes, and so it takes me a long time.
But Sandy, with
Yes, Brian.
those two fellows there, I think it was about a year ago. I was experimenting with using my phone. I'm still experimenting with that. I haven't really been using my phone that much,
Okay.
but I was using the virtual faces, the face app,
Yes.
and having fun with that. So, of course, I use really foul language for one of my characters, and it's character South
You
Philly
fucking
Joe.
use some fucking language.
Yeah. So I mean, anyway, I was having a problem with it. So I said, listen, he said, well, just show us what you have in here, and we'll try to help you. And I uploaded my video to their site, and I said, look, if you don't like bad language, don't watch my show here. I felt bad because they seem like the most straight-laced guys around.
Keith,
we got the audio.
what's wrong with we can hear him now because we can hear me through his computer. Poor Keith.
That's not the best thing, but
No, that's not the
yeah.
best thing. I don't want to hear
You
myself.
wear
Woo!
headphones and then or earphones.
I don't know what he's got on.
Earphones is probably always the best.
Keith, honey, I'm
Because
so sorry. This is just not going to work. I really want to talk to you. We'll do it again. Maybe I'll just have Monday nights. I don't know. I really I like this, but you know what, Brian? It's really tiring to plan the shows like I plan, and it's not easy. And last night, oh my God, I mean 8 hours I worked on this video and everything. My audio was I used I've graduated from iMovie up to the Mac, the big one. And it's
right.
confusing, but I was recording my voice and doing all this shit. So I set it
Yours
all up.
looks good. I mean, really good.
Okay, well, I set it up in Restream. And now Restream can schedule. So I schedule it for Facebook and for YouTube to go off.
YouTube.
And it fucking never went. Excuse my language. It's not my formal show tonight. It never went off in YouTube, never went off, and then it went off 4 times in Facebook in the one page, and it didn't save the title. It went off with the old title. So either I did something wrong or I forgot. Whatever.
Did you let Restream set you up? Auto set up where it sets it up for you on
on the
YouTube.
scheduler?
Not, I don't use schedule at all. Just you can do that later. But when you start adding channels to Restream, it'll give you the choice to manually do it, or they will
Yes.
do it themselves. And I always say it's better just to let them do it. And
Oh,
I've had issues with Restream, but you can. I think in the beginning it's always tough to make sure that those are locked in so that all channels are working at a time. But I think I'd let them do it. I don't know.
I'm
It's
sorry,
you'll get there.
Keith. Yeah, I'll get there. I'm gonna have to do more testing. Interglacial optimist. Is anybody out there? So I feel bad that we couldn't do, but yes, Keith needs headphones. I tell everybody. Finally, Antonio, he got a green sheet. He got a green screen. Yay! And Nicholas is going to get something, and I'm using just my background because I'm testing lighting and all. You have some nice. Do you have a ring light?
Well, I have a ring light. No, I
Yeah.
don't use
What
a
is
ring
your
light.
light? Okay.
My
Whatever
problem
you
with the
have.
ring light is I have glasses.
Oh
The problem
yeah.
when you start using the light in front of you,
Yeah.
Ecamm's great with their green screen because you don't need much light to make it work. But if you put a ring in front of you, which is nice, if you wear glasses, you're done because all they're going to
Yeah.
do is see the reflection of the ring. So
I don't have one of those.
um,
I have some lighting, but
have it
I'm
like a
experimenting
little
with
bit of,
everything.
yeah,
Well,
just experiment. That's it.
yeah, your skin color looks great tonight on this, but all right, everybody, we are forgetting you're going to Restream right now. What do you mean, Rich? You're going to Restream. You don't know what we're talking about. Restream is the software. We have to do that.
Right.
Okay, come on, guys. We're going to go back. If you could rid the earth of one thing, what would it be? We went through the religion thing. And let's see, John says broader than religion is maybe the idea of ideology. Maybe that is what we should get rid of. The idea of ideology. Well, it's organized religion. It's grifter religion. That's what I think we are kind of covering here as far as that goes. But there's got to be something else, Brian.
I
That you
mean, as
think.
far as that, something else instead of religion,
Another thing,
or
like somebody said nuclear power, and a lot of the chat is talking about getting rid of hatred, emotions, and we talked about anger. Although for Keith, it's his anger, it clarifies things for him when he gets angry, and that's big. um, Dee says humans. That's the Doom review. I
right.
don't
There's only
feel
one
like
problem with
that.
that. And I know Didi probably would disagree with me, but it wouldn't be a picnic without us either way. So because the system is so fraught with friction that it wouldn't be any better for the animals. In fact, most of
No.
the torch. It's not set up very well. The universe isn't a very kind universe in general. I mean, we're comfortable right now at 70 degrees or whatever it is in the room, but you can name a zillion things that are necessary. I would think the main thing is you've got to just destroy any type of magical thinking. I mean, when people do that, well, it's like what Hitchens said: religion poisons everything. But in general, I think it's magical thinking when you rely on emotion, or you can't accept the fact that we are in this difficult state that's so sad in a certain sense,
Very
for
sad.
most of us.
It is. It's a
It's
sad existence. Dee Dee said, true, except it would be better for farm animals. Well, yeah, we domesticated animals. We domesticated them. Humans domesticated, and we overbreed. And poor cows, the mama has to have babies. We make them have babies. I'm completely, well, not vegan, but I'm trying my best because meeting all the vegans and talking to all the people. My brother became a vegan, my yuppie brother, who says, oh, it's not because of conviction, it's because I feel better. It's like, oh, okay, Glenn, I thought maybe it was a little conviction, but I feel a lot different than I ever did before. And about uh, what I eat, meat and all. And that partly because of you and partly because of, well, a lot of people. Mark J out there in New Mexico. And there's a lot of people, a lot of input. And I do think that if we could get rid of factories, factory farming, that would be one thing I'd get rid of, factory farming. But how is that going to happen? Is
I
any
don't
of
know,
this ever
Sandy.
going to happen, Brian?
I think the first of all, there are different levels of why somebody becomes a vegetarian or a vegan. I mean, some people just do it because they want a healthier diet, and that's one category. And there's people who actually say, "Look, I don't want to cause any harm." And then there's a third group who kind of goes in and out. Even like myself, I've done that. But you at least have to have the awareness that you are doing a lot of harm by eating that animal's being tortured, okay, in some way or another. And whether it's we say, well, I've heard people say, well, this one is farm fed, and yeah, I guess there's a certain degree of torture, so to speak. But we wouldn't want to be the torturee, like somebody, if an alien came from another planet and started eating us. I mean, it's the same thing. But again, I think you can kind of almost push that all to the side. Sandy, in fact, I've been talking about this with Ronnie today. Just the universe in general, it's so unforgiving, and you have to kind of almost forgive yourselves because we're put into this terrible, terrible situation, and this is why you get these popular channels like Emendum and other ones where a lot of people are antinatalists, and um, they're saying that this is a no-win proposition. I don't take it to that degree because I'm so busy with stuff. I am trying to enjoy my life, but but when you think of it, Sandy, it's difficult, and if it's not difficult for you now, it will be later. Wait till you're 90. I'm not about you specifically, Sandy, but when you're nine, well, you've been through a lot. I mean, physically, you've had. I mean, I don't want to go into your business. Okay, I'm not quite hearing you, but
Oh, I muted myself.
oh,
I
okay.
Yeah, I've been through a lot, and I'm not going to go through that now. But I was talking about before you came in. It's what getting rid of anger, and I said, yeah, the two I married don't see anger as giving them clarity. Either one of them.
Mm.
But anyway, I will be journaling or do I've got to do something too to put down my thoughts, and not just the show, but everything I've been through, I guess, in life, because I've had quite a hell of a friggin'
I remember
ride.
you said I forget exactly what analogy you made, but you said you like I think you said a pool cue with the bowling ball up on top, which you might
Oh
think is
yeah.
funny at first, but then you realize, wow, that just ow, you know,
Ow.
you
Yeah,
know.
my back problems. Although I'm doing well right now. I'm doing well right now, so I'm not going to complain. Medicine after 22 years. there's a it seems that maybe these epidurals are working. So I
Right,
actually
but
can
what
live.
about the people 400 years ago who didn't have that though? See what I'm saying?
They didn't live to
They
be my age.
No, they didn't, and that's the thing. Like we can forget about them, but they were still another us, back in the day. And even if we do improve things, look what happened before. This is what I'm saying, that
Yeah.
it's not an unbelievable victory for us to all be vegans, or just for humans to be off the planet, because we still have the issue with evolution, which is, and I've had a lot of disagreements with a lot of people about this, but evolution I see is it's very, very cruel. And to just simply get rid of
Cruelty.
the humans is not going to do it, folks. At least
No.
that's my opinion. It's not
No.
going to do it, because it's
No.
vicious out there. All you have to do is just you go out through the woods and look a little bit, and you'll see how bad it is. It's bad. It's
Oh,
you
the
know
word bad. Mm.
On the other hand, we still have to live, right? And we still have to do the
Every
right
day.
thing.
I
And
get up
and
and I
that's
do the right thing every day.
but
I
but
try.
what God would put us in a position where
Yeah.
we have to, first of all, go through it, then to watch it, to endure other people's suffering, right? I mean, how many of you have a pet, and then you're trying to save your pet, the most innocent things in the world, and then you know whatever. It's a horror show. So you're right. Evolution
Well,
doesn't give a shit.
Brian, you were saying, oh, with like religion and worshiping, it's also a diversion for people to get away from what they don't understand, or they let go. What is it, the old saying, let go and give God? I guess that's what happens, although I have no idea what that feels like. It happens for people,
Well,
and they
they're rooting for the
essentially,
wrong guy. It's the other
yeah,
guy
they're
that's
rooting.
actually better.
Yeah.
I mean, if you
Yeah.
think about it, I mean, look, the first four commandments have nothing to do with being good. It's just being a servile human to this God, kiss the God's ring. Um, and you look at, the tales from the Old Testament with, Pharaoh, all the firstborn in Egypt are going to be, smitten and
Yeah.
killed. And so
Ugh.
instead of God just taking, Pharaoh out, he decides to take the innocent ones out. It makes no sense. And you'll
Sense.
have people trying to rationalize it. Like, no, just really, this God of yours is not such a good guy. It's like rubbing, butter on the burn. It doesn't work. It's like using the newspaper to hit your dog, or
Yeah. If there
it's
was a
just
God, why did they make Donald Trump? And why would God let him be president? And why would God let QAnon exist? And why would God let all of this bullshit go on? No.
it,
I can't see
really,
it
the answer is
happening.
really, the answer is really there. And this is probably, the death part is it's number one fear. The death part's the biggest part. I think that's why people go toward religion,
Yeah.
because if you
Yeah,
think about
go.
it, you kind of know the answer. If think of yourself before you were born, Sandy. I roughly know what year you were born,
150
but
years ago.
okay. So in other words, in the year 1820, you weren't
When
around.
I
You
was
have
born.
no memory. I mean, there are people going to say that they were Joan of Arc, and you have 300,000 Joan of Arcs out there, but you know that you didn't exist before. And of course, that's not necessarily a problem because you weren't
Right.
conscious, but it seems to be the answer. Like, here, this is what, what so Lenny Bruce said, the truth is what is. And the truth is, you were not here before you were here. Okay. And you will probably be on that other side, the other state that Alan Watts used to say, that the
Yeah, I was
real you.
listening to Alan Watts yesterday, actually.
Yeah, he's a little bit kooky, but I
Yeah.
like just listening to his voice.
Him, I was listening because I was actually looking for something that I could use. I wanted to be influenced, I guess, in that kind of way. But
John
I
Lennon, I
can't
think,
use it.
used to had all of like his tapes or something like that. But I used to like listening to him, just to listen to him. But he is a little off the wall. I would probably listen to,
Nah,
like,
that's
But anyway, he's kind of interesting. You hear those chimes and
right.
uh,
Right.
you know, but
Yeah, and the other
the
one that I
guru.
think a lot of people like in the doomosphere is Terrence McKenna, because, well, Terrence is the mushroom guy.
Yeah, well, a lot of these gurus have, like, like they get everybody in, but the next minute they want to shtup everybody that's around them. It's like so,
We need to clarify what "shtup" means. It means
they
do
can
them.
figure it.
Okay, that's a word
Yeah,
my
that's
uncle used
usually
to
the
use.
case. But no, it's look. I mean, I shouldn't make fun of it, but it's just
Oh yes,
we're
you
in a
should.
bad
You're on my channel.
situation.
You
I
can
mean,
do
we
whatever
all
you want.
deserve. I mean, we're going to face all kinds of crap, and some more than others, and it's so unfair. So you just keep going, and
Yeah. Well, I guess you know what? I think that there's a lot of difference between certain people that, well, I mean, I've also been researching for a few years narcissism. And there's covert narcissists, malignant narcissists, overt narcissists. I would like to get rid of narcissists. I
yeah,
think that
they're a
would
real
be like,
problem, aren't they?
what, 3/4 of the population?
Yeah, well, that's another issue. Yeah, there's so many bad things out there, but I think religion kind of creates that. Everybody wants to be
Yeah.
the Jesus, like because Jesus told. I heard God whisper to me, like all of a sudden you're the instrument of that thing that's so great. So you vicariously are that thing. You become the God. So
You
it's
become the God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Anita
it's
says,
all
Sandy,
vicarious.
the believers think Trump is the second coming. LOL. If this is true, God has very low standards. What the fuck? That was great, Anita. That was really good. Oh, I'm in a good mood doing this tonight. Cindy,
Well,
love listening to
uh,
Alan Watts. I'm so happy I did this. I was so blue, and now I'm not.
but we've been talking torture and the
Yeah,
universe and
but
this kind
so what? Everybody says, Sandy, how do you deal with all
right.
the stuff you do? We put that stuff on the page, and how do I deal with it? I how does anybody you cope? I have good coping skills. I'm a coping strong bitch, and I've been through that. I've been to hell and back. So how do I deal with it? And also the thing is, I read so much of this horrible stuff happening, but I can't control it. I could talk about it, but I can't control it. Therefore, because I can't
Can't
control it,
control 'em.
I can't make myself nuts. I can talk about it. I can talk about the Arctic with Jennifer. We can talk about, the hardest thing for me is another one I'd like to get rid of is um, kennels. You know,
Yes.
um,
I'm going
and
to get sick just thinking about that because I
yeah, well,
had experience.
I used to be before I met Dog. I was really into the anti breeding. The anti breeding, and I was anti circus animals. I mean, and there I was, but I ate meat. Go figure. I mean, it's like I ate meat, but I was active in
Right, because
organizations.
you see, when you have that meat prepared for you, you have the assassin do the dirty work
Yeah,
for you, so
yeah,
you
there
never
you
have to
go.
do it, and that's the real issue there is that you've got an
An
assassin for
assassin.
yourself, right?
Well, my
So
husband's soon to be not husband is an assassin, and he's a hunter, a deer hunter.
and you
But
have to
he
cut him a
doesn't.
break,
We eat it. I cut him a
right?
break. For 10
Because
years, I
he's
cut
he's
him a
really
break.
no. At least he faces what he kills.
Yeah,
He's
and he doesn't.
facing it.
He's not a bad hunter. Like the deer's in the freezer. He eats it. He doesn't torture anything. He waits. He only gets like what he needs and whatever. He's not Donald Trump Jr.'s. They don't. There's no trophy. There is
Right.
one deer head which I took
One
down.
shot, put him out, and that's it. No pain.
Hmm. Yeah, and it
Yeah,
also
that would
does
be
save money. Yeah, it does
no.
save
It's
money. But I had a I did a stream last week. I was in between. I was waiting to have this bone scan, and they have to give you a shot. So I was radiated, and you have 3 hours in between. So I took my thing, tripod. I put my phone on it, stood outside of my truck, and did a live stream. And I don't know who's with us now that listened to that because I deleted it. Oh man, it was like I did a whole comedy act, but I did a comedy act of what my life is. And actually, you know what? Somebody said, Sandy, you should really, have you ever thought of doing stand up? I'm like, I've thought of it. My daughter and I have thought of it, but I took it down. You ever done that, Brian? Like deleted a video you did because you let a bit
Right,
too
right.
much
Yeah,
out?
went a little too far. Absolutely. I
Yeah.
tend not like doing that. I don't like taking down videos, but it's
Oh, I
usually for
had to.
something that you had to.
I deleted
Okay,
the whole thing.
right, right. Well, yeah. Well, it makes it a lot easier because then if you try to cut the piece out, a couple of the reality reports we had to do that. It got a little personal with other people, and we realized that we were having too much fun that night. I guess it's in a way, if you want to do it right, you just let it go and say, you know what, I'll be myself. But
I was myself,
sometimes
and
it went too
everybody
far.
that was there heard it, and then it was done because it was like a therapy session.
Yeah.
What's his name? Sam Hambone. He does that all the time, but he doesn't take them down. This was what
Well,
is it?
that's
A
funny
rant?
you
It was a
mentioned that
rant.
because one of the ones we took down, we were kind of going after Sam a bit. So
Hey, go after him. He can take
okay,
it.
I like
He can
Sam,
take
but
it.
it's I don't think he
You
liked our
know,
channel that much. But
on
he's a nice enough guy.
online, he's different than he is like in person. We have a blast, all of us. We go to Ithaca now, and he's near there, and Karen and Basil. I mean, we really have a lot of fun, and he knows who he is, and he'll say he's a narcissist, whatever. He'll say whatever, but he's a good person, and he helps. He comes
He's
here,
funny too. He's a funny
and
man.
he's
He's very
very
funny.
funny. He comes
And he's
here
very
and
good
he
to his dog,
does
which is, I
things.
think, for me, that's the whole thing there.
Yeah, but he's very
I
good
mean,
to his
sometimes they don't even.
friends.
I don't watch him that much, to be honest with you, and that's nothing against Sam's
Well, who
work,
has
but
time?
time, right? But when I do watch it, and again, this is not a cut on Sam. I just like the interplay with him and his dog. The dog is faithful to him, and he's faithful to the dog. And
I know, and
I kind of like that.
he got there's two more of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Good for
my
him.
girlfriend Karen, her husband comes on the channel's Basil Peterson. Do you know Basil Peterson, the name? He might have watched.
The only
Well, anyway,
Basil I know is a hockey player named Basil McRae.
okay. Well, they got Cope, their little one from St. Croix, and Susan, another friend, she got Miles, and he's trying to get me to get one. And the thing is, I said I have 5 cats. My life is in flux. How am I going to get a dog? Really, how am I going to get a dog? And I just can't see it. And everybody says, well, you could take a dog with you anywhere. You can't take 5 cats, but yeah, really.
Well, it's also the end too is a bit tough to deal with, and
I've done
um,
that.
you've been when you're through that. I mean, I've been through that a lot and made a lot of mistakes. Waiting too long, that kind of thing. I'm too gun shy from that, Sandy. So
Do you have any
yeah,
pets?
that's
Do you have any
yeah.
pets?
I mean, I will probably get another dog. I've had I loved Scottish Terriers. I had 3 Scottish Terriers, and 2 of them had cancer, and
Hmm.
it was just too much because they have what is called transitional cell carcinoma. Scottish Terriers and Boxers have a real tough time with pesticides through their paws. Other dogs also, but especially with Terriers, they just don't have the genetic makeup to handle any type of pesticides. And I used to wash his paws after he'd walk.
Wow.
It was just a brutal death. 2 of them, and I know a friend
People
who had a
just don't.
boxer, and they have
People
the
don't
problem
think
too.
of that. People.
It's
I had
nasty. Those
I had a
pesticides.
min pin that got sick, and I really think it was from walking, like you said, on the pesticides. But I didn't think at the time.
It's horrible,
And I didn't do it.
horrible,
It
and
wasn't my lawn, but it was. I lived in a development neighborhood. When my
you
kid was
can't
little.
avoid it sometimes, and that was the problem
Oh,
with
you
my
can
dog.
hear at my house.
Well, that's the one dog that we had. The one Scotty. In fact, they warned us. I guess it was a breeder. It wasn't my dog. It was my parents' dog. But he said, don't use the flea collar, which was a good decision. Uh, don't certain dogs you shouldn't. And then we had a gated area for him where he could run, and he lived for 15 years, which is unusual for a Scotty. But the other ones, 7 and 8, and that was brutal. They're wonderful, wonderful animals, and it was like a knife in my heart because I've had good friends in my life, Sandy, but my best friends have been my animals.
God,
Are
I
you
feel
familiar with
similar.
Scott Clifton, the actor. He has a channel called Theoretical Bullshit, and
Oh,
he's an
really?
interesting
All
guy.
right.
Yeah, he's well. Look, if you want to go into philosophy, he's got a great channel. But he, for 5 years, nobody knew he was Scott Clifton, who was a famous actor
No
from the
kidding.
soaps.
Well,
All the women
really?
like him, all that.
I
Yeah,
used to
Scott
watch
Clifton's
them.
name. Well, you've probably seen him a million times, but
Oh my
the point I'm trying to make is he had a
God. Yeah.
dog that was half wolf and half I don't know,
Oh,
whatever it was, but he said that was his best friend ever. He says that death tore him apart, and I think part of it's the unfairness of it all. Again, it's what we were
it
talking
is.
about. It.
I did have a shepherd chow chow, my first baby. My parents said this was their first grandchild, grand dog. But she lived, she was a shepherd chow, perfect, friggin' gorgeous. She lived till 17 with hip dysplasia. Putting her down absolutely was horrible, but it was humane.
Yeah.
I hugged her. I hugged her, but the min pin, he got diabetes at age 7. And my daughter couldn't handle the shots, and that was really sad. I have a lot of guilt over that dog. And I had a Rottweiler named Zoe, and she died at a normal age, and it was just right at home. But it was tough. I don't think I have any pictures of my dogs, but yeah. And I know I have 5 cats, and each one of these cats here, I have a personal relationship, and I know that. But see, again, loss. That is huge equation in humanity. Loss on the
Right.
planet. That's what we are. We
We're
are
headed
born to
all headed
die.
for bittersweet loss. I mean, whether it's ourselves, the worst is the people you love, because when they're gone, and you just it takes something out of you that you never get back. It's
But you
just one.
had it. The thing is, you had it. And when I think about Zoe, and recently I took all of the family videos, the Super 8s and the VHSs and everything, and we all chipped in the family and sent it to have them all processed into stuff I could make movies out of. And, I have little things. I saw those pictures of Sasha, and you know what? I did not cry. I thought I was going to cry. I cried over my girlfriend Sue because she killed herself. But you know what? I loved that dog, and that dog gave me so much joy. I can't. I mean, I cried, but not that time. I don't know why I didn't cry, because I cry
Well,
over a lot of things.
Sandy, on that topic, I hope you mind if I don't divert into this.
Divert away, baby.
Yeah,
Divert away.
it's I remember one of Emendam's programs that he had was called Trapdoor, and
Trapdoor.
Trapdoor is the philosophical idea, at least his philosophical idea, that, as an example, if you have a dog and you love the dog, then, as you say, after 7 years you have to put it down. No matter, people will tell you, well, think of the good times, or make your video, but there's always that trap door. When you think of the
I
good
know.
times, you go through that same thing, and then all of a sudden, oh, but remember when he got run over by your neighbor who
Oh,
was drunk? That kind of thing is true, and that's why two of my dogs, I was just so close. I can't even think of them, because
it's
I think of
pain.
the day that one was put down, and it was done poorly. I did this to try to eliminate the suffering, and they gave you 2 shots. The first shot, he was asphyxiated. He was looking at me. He couldn't breathe. And I said, put the goddamn shot into him, the other one. And she said, oh, he's okay. He's not okay. He was
Not
in
okay.
complete pain.
You knew that.
And right now, I could, if there were a God, I'd like to slice him in half, because
Yeah, for letting
um,
your
you you
dog
you know,
suffer.
and that's another psychological problem too, because you get angry at the God that does not exist. That's another thing, because you need something you need that Superman to solve that problem in your head, and it's not there. There is just loss. And
That makes
I,
sense.
I don't know, Sandy. You mentioned the word control. One of my favorite philosophers at a time in my life was Arthur Young, and he invented the first, well, not the first helicopter, but he used a stabilizing bar to the helicopter that allowed it to fly. And he was a brilliant mathematician. And you mentioned the word control, and one of his philosophy is that if you look through life of the planet with living things, they're what he called levels of control. Like for example, with an atom, it can only radiate, so it's like at level zero.
Okay.
And then there's some things that can only just stay in one place. Then, for example, a mouse can go in two directions, but go to a third direction. He would argue that we're moving to something bigger, and that we can go into the third dimension, go into space. But he says he's not sure if that means that we have a plane that we're part of, or is there going to be something that can actually fly? I don't know. Anyway, it got kooky, but because he's so intelligent, because he did invent something, I
Mhm.
kind of latched on to that idea that, as he said, there would be hope in the end, that there would somehow be like a God created and even things out. But it's a big stretch. But if you're ever interested in that idea of control, which is fascinating, is it's levels of control.
Levels of control.
And if you're lucky enough to have more control, you're in good shape. But it can also be bad because Trump has more control than you or I have. Correct? I mean, it's just, and that's a
Yeah, and
bad
as
thing. That's
women get
control.
older, man, we have to also think about control where we might have to get the pens.
Oh,
There's some
that's the
control.
worst one. That's the worst one.
I'm not there yet, guys. I
No,
am nowhere near there.
well, I'm
But
sure
yeah,
we
you're right.
all get those times when it warns us of the future, so to speak. Like, you ever have to run home, right? And you're trying to get the key in the door, kind of thing. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes, that
Yeah,
happens to me all the time. Are you kidding? When I have
that
to go
one
to a
is
doctor's office,
like
it's like
once.
an hour and a half. I carry toilet paper in my truck, and I have all the places I can pull over and pee. We're in a pandemic. It's not like every public bathroom is open,
Yeah,
so I find my way. I live in the woods. I could pee anywhere outside. But
yeah,
yeah, I know
that
what
is
you're
the
talking about.
warning for us all. That's like once every 5 years you're in a position like, I got to get somewhere. I've got to find a place.
No, I'm talking only toilet paper for tinkly tinklies. All right, this is getting silly.
Okay.
But
Well, it won't
listen,
be in about
I
10 or
can
15 years.
I can go down the silly path. Trust me. Like I was making the jokes I make. It's kind of like what is it? Self deprecating humor, self effacing, whatever. My biggest joke
Sounds
right
right.
now is I have the quarantine 19 times 2. And then I got these two. I mean, anybody with a bad back would understand that I am carrying two 15-pound backpacks on each cheek. How good can that be for a back? Not good. I mean, I could keep them. I could keep going with them all night. But
Well,
anyway.
well, you hear about stories about grandpa shit in the bed, but
Oh
we're all
Lord.
grandpa.
Oh,
Grandpa shit the bed.
this is a very human show. Yes. Hey,
Yeah.
what happened to Human? Human was with us. Um, okay, Jan says to keep fighting for true democracy. Yes. Well, there are, I think there's a lot of people now that are awakened to what we don't want. What we definitely don't want. And I certainly hope that those people, including me, including you, Brian, including all of us that live in the United States, for the meantime, will, now and watch
Right.
like a hawk everything that happens. It's not just because Joe Biden's in doesn't mean it's great. I mean, I don't like his Secretary of Agriculture who he's picking. I mean, he's a corporatist. We knew it, but we're not in a fascist country anymore. So if you want something different,
And he has made
got to
I
work for it.
think that there, as much as I am not I mean, actually, I'm becoming more of a fan of him in the sense that he's an empathetic human being, as Dave would
Well,
say. But again, we're not negotiating. I don't want to make this a political conversation, but we're not negotiating with one person or two. It's you've got
no,
two parties, and there's a certain amount of pragmatism that has to occur, because you have to do something, because that other side is so bad, and what we had,
they are so
um, and,
bad.
and we're not done yet,
Ugh.
because we still have, what, 23 days left or something like that, Sandy. So
Mm.
it's frightening. It's
Well,
frightening. What will Penn do
I'm
on the
not
5th?
watching. I'm not watching, Brian. Okay, I can't stand it. So I stopped. I completely, I don't, I've told everybody, unfollow the moron on Twitter. I don't go on the politics anymore right now. I couldn't do it. It
You
was
can't do
making
it
me
in your
sick.
own street, right?
Well, I had a sign outside my house. Oh no, I did. And I live in redneck America, but I had a sign that said pro America with a flag, and it said anti Trump. I had that sign out for 2 months. Nobody bothered my house.
I had an anti-Trump
And I
sign
live in
also.
redneck America.
Right,
Well,
but you still
because
have people who, you have to be careful
sure you
to
do.
say, Trump's an asshole, because
And I did it right on my street. I don't give a shit.
he did the
Come
right
on over
thing.
and fuck with me.
Right.
Nobody's gonna. And they didn't.
And
Nope.
we've almost lost democracy completely here with this guy. He's a
It
fascist.
was scary.
He's,
Absolutely, he was. And everybody
and we're
said
still there. We're not
Trump
done yet. I
derangement.
mean,
No, we're
it's
not.
that bad.
What do you
I mean,
think it's
they're talking
okay?
about the EPA. They're going to have to deal with all the
Oh,
polluting, in these sites, these super, the cleanup sites. I
yeah.
mean, Biden's got a
Setting
lot to
up.
do.
They're going to set up new Superfund
Super
sites.
funds,
Yeah,
right?
I'm going to be watching this, closely, that part, because that's what I'm interested in is these departments: energy, EPA, Department of Energy, EPA, and the Department of the Interior, and I guess agriculture, because it's pretty important
Right.
where I live. Oh, and I want to see what happens. I want to see
It'll be a lot better
policy.
than what was or what is right now.
I
That's for
hope
sure.
so. I hope
You
so.
know,
But, I just don't want to see. I would love to say, somebody said earlier, if we could rid the earth of one thing, what would it be? And they said corporations. And it's not even, it's the power we give corporations.
right? Some corporations
Forget
are pretty good too.
corporations employ people. And
Mhm.
we still have a capitalist system. And then we could what do you replace it with? To say, okay, we could get rid of capitalism. I rail against it all the time. But you have to have a plan. You can't just say,
Right.
well,
Something
and
in place of it.
something in place of it. And I don't know if I'll ever see that in my life. I hate to be negative or about these things, but I don't see huge changes, at least in my lifetime, in the political systems. I just don't. We're so entrenched in corporatism. We're so entrenched. Look at the Supreme Court now. We're in trouble. I
But isn't
think
there
it's
a
going to
sense
take.
though, Sandy, even though this is a market economy, we still have laws, and again, you could argue that we
Okay.
have corrupt judges and this and that, but if you have good laws, and
Hmm.
if you do have the occasional honest politician like White House or Bernie
Yeah, I
Sanders,
like him.
these guys who are really fighting for us, people who really do give a shit, and if you have some honest people, I don't mind a corporation if they're honest. If they're going to, you know, be an honest broker and they want to make money, working with solar power or alternative energies, I have no problem with it because the poor are no picnic either. I'm for the poor because I mean I'm not
Hmm.
poor, but I'm on their same team.
Hmm.
But there are problems, and you can have problems from the left and from the right, but mainly from the right now. But I think that if we're a nation of laws and we believe in fairness or just logic in general, people like Biden, for whatever you want to think of him, folks, corporatists or this or that, if there becomes an existential threat, which we have kind of right now, but if it becomes so apparent, he will do something. I mean, he's not.
Well,
He's
we're not going to have a threat like that. We just have to look at if people want to change the system, they have to be part of the
part
change
of it, right?
and make it change. Make the change in yourself if you want to be part of it. I mean, there's a lot of people that just sit back. I might rail against something, but I'm also involved in things locally. And I'm not just. I think I walk the walk. I don't always just talk the
You do.
talk.
You
I'm
wouldn't
on
do this if you
committees.
didn't, right?
Well, this, and I'm on committees and all. Even with I was messed up as I was, I had to stop for a while, but now we had Zoom meetings, so it's all right. Locally. I always tell
You're
everybody.
absolutely right, Sandy. You have to do like Nike. That's the way they brand themselves. Just do it. I mean,
Yeah.
don't talk about it. Do it. And that's unfortunately part of it's like the religious philosophy of, you know what, no matter what I do, I'm going to get to heaven. So this planet is for whatever. That's that. When
Yeah.
we get back to the religious
That's
thing,
scary.
you've got to get outside of that because that's not really what you want. because if you think it's going to work for you, if you don't do something, and we all know this, if you don't move, you only, again, this is determinism, but you only change through other people and other things. You will not change yourself. You cannot change yourself. It has to be other people having an impact, whether it's you on me. Like, for example, you've had an impact on me on your views with the environment. You've been very pragmatic about the political situation. I've helped you about ECAM. This is determinative. This is the kind of thing you want. You have to have impact on people. You will not change yourself unless you have the arrows coming at you to make you change. You got to get from the alphabet A to B, B to C. Things have to hit against each other. And if you don't get involved, it won't work. You have to get involved.
No,
You know
and
what I
even
mean?
locally here, it's like anything we do here, it's so right wing, and it's but it's incremental, and there's a lot more people than when I first moved here. The local Democratic uh, party here was about, I don't know, 30. Everybody was like 75 years old, and now the younger people are getting involved because they want to see change. And we've done things here and in the environmental arena, stopping the use of brine from fracking from Pennsylvania on the roads in the
Right.
winter. Uh, we were petitioning to keep the landfill not big, but it's growing. It's going to go 100 acres bigger. And these people, I wasn't involved like I used to be. These people sent out letters to everybody to vote no, and it won because the big industry, because the waste management industry had the money to change the minds, to make them say,
Mm-hmm.
oh, it's going to be just wonderful. We can just bring everybody's fucking garbage up here, my beautiful county. So we lost that. But
Yeah.
but if you don't fight, you'll never
Right.
win anything
And by the
if you
way,
don't get involved.
you're speaking about landfills, Sandy. I have a good friend from Arkhangelsk, which is the northern part of Russia. It's getting close to the Arctic Circle, and they've had a
Ooh.
big problem in that region because Putin wanted to have Moscow's trash sent all the way up north and
Oh.
buried there. They don't
Oh.
even go through recycling. And so the
Oh.
people there, they take their
Oh.
lives in their hands protesting, and they're trying, but they're not winning because
Yeah.
you see, when you have governors there of their regions, they're tools of Putin. And this is a very big thing up there, the landfills, because it's very immediate. And I can go into the whole thing about global warming, how they're just not buying it at all there, and people, the economy is so bad that they don't even think about it.
Mm.
And that's where the methane is in general in the East Siberian Sea. But that's another story. But the point is, there are people in Russia who are very, very upset about the landfills because Moscow has 13 or 14 million people. And all that shit, as you talk about, gets dumped in the pristine northern forests near the Arctic Ocean, which is, obviously very
Oh my
shallow.
God,
And
Brian.
he refused. And the governor, Orlov, he's a tool of Putin. Well, Orlov's gone, but it doesn't matter because whoever comes in afterwards say, we can't do anything about it. We got to have it. It'll be fine. And there's no recycling. And there's a place called Chias, which is a small town where there's like a train station goes through. That's where they have the landfill. And there's just, millions of tons of shit, literally, from Moscow. And this stuff is going into the pristine north, and it's going to go in the Arctic. So anyway, long
It's
story
not
short, people,
lined like here. Ours is. I went on a tour of
no,
a
they're talking
landfill.
about the lining.
How
It's just,
it's
it's not good,
lined. Well, ours is very sophisticated, and they do
right?
have the whole methane thing going. Changing it into power and all that. I mean, it is sophisticated here. It's not there in Russia.
Well,
They're
they
like
have it. I mean, for example, they understand. Look, they went to space first. I think they created the first working LED. They're intelligent people, and as my friend said, she said, you know, our scholars know there's global warming, but they cannot mention that because like there's 24 main stations that's controlled by the government, and they are all this, and that. And global warming is, though it may be true, it's not no great effect. And they think that it would be good for Russia. They actually kind of buy into this. But the
Yeah,
point is,
well,
they don't line these things, they don't recycle, and the people are upset because they live 10 years less than we do. That's a death sentence. The average male lives to around 64 there, and a female 65. So if I were living in Russia, I'd have 4 years left. See what I'm saying? And that's how bad it is. That's how bad it is. They don't do shit about coronavirus. Um, so it's not just us. Yet we have to get together with them. These people. We have to get
well, their
everybody together to
scientists
do
are
something.
brilliant. We had Russian scientists come to the university. We had Chinese back in the day when everybody was cooperating. Scientists are scientists are scientists. Yes, we
Yeah,
have
but
to
they also
get
have fear,
them
and that's the
together.
problem.
Yeah,
They have fear, Sandy, and they will
that's
not do it. And there are some people who are very strong-willed, but they usually end up dead, and that's why we have so many journalists who are dead. You saw what happened to Lyubov Sobol. She was taken away in a paddy wagon. Navalny was poisoned. Like 70.
why
I
are there
know.
so many people that don't think that happened? Why are so many people that say that you can't mention the word Russia? And they think they any other country you can talk about, but if you talk about Russia, everybody thinks you're talking about Russia Gate or a hoax, and you're just talking about a country that has problems just like we do.
Well, that's where I get into religious type thinking. There's something called schizotypalism,
Yes,
and
I know.
for
And I'm
example,
psychology. I have an undergrad
okay, then
there.
you know. So, but the
Schizotypal.
bottom. So, when you have a schizotypal personality, let's just look at some of the things that, like, look, if somebody had Tay-Sachs, if you're Jewish and you have Tay-Sachs, it helped fend off the plague, because if you had a slight form of Tay-Sachs, it actually protected you. If you had sickle cell anemia, a slight form of it would protect you from malaria. And with people who are schizotypal, they're kind of like almost normal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But as they were
Yeah.
saying, like, people 2,000 years ago, if you were schizotypal and you actually believed that this person did these miracles, if you were schizotypal 2,000 years from now, you might have a day named after you on December 25th. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so
Oh
so
my
this
God.
it's just like almost normal people. It's kind of like the
That's
Amish
so
market.
wild.
You say, hold it, that person eye doesn't meet up with the other eye. It's a little bit off, hold it, that person serving me's got like warts on their hand. What's going on here? So they're marrying their third cousin or something. You were laughing, but and by
Yeah.
the way, I've
I'm
also
laughing. You're
suggested
very
now
animated. I love it.
that women are not dating Republican men now. So you're going to find, in my opinion, that more Republican males are going to they're going to be desperate, and they're going to have to marry their third cousins to get a date. It's going to be that bad.
Well, or
So
they'll buy a wife
yes,
overseas, and
yes, they
hopefully the
will.
wife won't be 13. Well,
Well, when they come
listen.
here, then the wife will get rid of them, and they'll find out that they were prostitutes over there, and they know
Well,
what they're doing.
that's something that does happen here. But Anita says, Brian, try to interview one of those scholars, but you might need to bring in a translator. That would be if they can.
Well, you know what? I have a couple of friends who are brilliant in their own right over there, but they can't. I can't do that. Я говорю чисто по-русски. I can speak Russian. I teach it. Okay, but
Yeah, Brian's an educator, guys. By
but
the
that
way, he's a
doesn't
teacher.
that doesn't mean. I mean, I was there during the coup in Red Square, and I mean, I know how this works. I know how this works, and I can't put these people in this position. Unfortunately, I know it's a great
It
idea,
could be
but I
horrible.
cannot put them. I have to be told by them. They'll say, "Look, here's the information, and I get it, and then
Yeah,
I give it. So you either
yeah.
trust me or you don't." And that's as
I
far as it
trust you.
goes. I am
I
not going
trust
to
you.
jeopardize these people's lives.
I
I'm
think you're a
not.
lovely man. I
So
want to ask you. There's a channel. The guy says he's in Russia, and he does criticize Russia. He's a young guy, dark hair. I forgot his name, but I listen to him every now and then, and he was really criticizing the
I
election.
said, N
He
fuckers, N fuckers, N
No,
fuckers.
he
He's
was
a teenager.
dark hair. No, he's older. And he talks like this, and he says, Putin, the election. He talks
He
about the
sounds
election.
Italian to me.
All right, I can't do
Okay,
accents.
right.
I grew up
You
around the
want to have a
Italian
little.
rhythm. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just kidding.
Oh, bunch of, okay. But
No, but I get what you're saying. Some people
he
do,
was,
Sandy.
But he
Some, but not.
had a channel. He says he's in Russia, and he was criticizing the bullshit election. Russia has an election. I was watching him when Russia was having an election. He says all these people, are going to vote, and it's all bullshit.
It is
in
bullshit.
That country.
It's bullshit.
And now
he's Trump squared.
Yeah.
Right.
I got
so
a
what
question.
do you do?
I got to stop for a second because she
Sure.
begged me to ask you. I have a former dorm mate from Alternative Lifestyle. Wait a minute. Okay. He's also buying ammo for a foreign country takeover? All right, Heidi, what is it that you want me to ask Brian? She had a question and I try to help Heidi. She's a lovely person, but I don't know what she wants. Oh, Heidi, I don't know what it was. I'm going down. She said, ask you something. And now I can't find it. Heidi, it's really hard sometimes. Yeah, it's really hard sometimes to find the specific things when you're live doing this. Anthony's wife likes Michael Barnishkoff, the ballet dancer. Is she still alive? Mikhail. It's Mikhail Barishnikov. I think I saw him dance.
Yeah, my wife saw him dance, but it was kind of a letdown because he only came out for a couple of minutes when he was older.
Yeah.
Wasn't he doing Sex in the City, or who was on Sex in the City?
Was it Barishnikov? Was it him? Maybe it was him. I remember that show. I love that show. I can. It was a good.
I can't watch it. My wife watches it over and over again.
I haven't watched it, but the one time. But all right, I don't know where Heidi's thinking is. Jan says Monsanto caused the bee killing. The problem with internal intestinal problems in humans and is killing my dogs. Fuck you, Monsanto.
Yeah, I would agree.
And then why did Biden put up Monsanto?
Right, that's what Ronnie and I were talking. That's terrible. That's terrible. I mean, that's getting me pissed, because I said, Joe, like you're doing all the right things, and all of a sudden, like there's Monsanto. You can't do that, Joe. You can't.
Here it is. I want to see the return to truth of science to our government departments' websites. I wonder what will happen to all of the alt, park, etc. departments when everyone reveres the truth. I think that's what she was. Is that it? Damn, she can't copy her question. I put it on the screen before. Was that it? Did human copy it, Heidi? Wow, what a show tonight. We're really hopping. I never go this long. Brian, you inspire me. Well, you and Dave yammer all night too. You and Dave are like
we argue.
Yeah, I know you argue. Dave is like, Dave is obnoxious, and that's his.
He is obnoxious,
but it's his
obnoxious. Shtick. You see, his wife likes to beat him over the head. He's nuts, He just nonstop. She calls him asshole. So.
Well, all right.
Dave's a good guy. He is an asshole, but he's a good asshole.
Moron. Moron's my favorite one, but I can't do that. That's mean. You can't call somebody a moron. Only whatever. Okay, Heidi, that was the question. All right, so she wants to talk about that, but seeing the return of truth of science to our governmental departments and websites. So, what do you think about that, Brian?
I think it will happen. I think that
immediately.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. That I think will be right on the top of his agenda. Absolutely.
Okay. I want to.
I don't like this idea with Monsanto. That really bothers the shit out of me. That's terrible.
So that's where we have to be heard. We can all write in.
Right.
We can do whatever we can.
That's where the left has to really say to Biden, like, look, we're not going to let you get away with this. Well, you can't give in to these right-wing guys. Don't give in at all. And by the way,
being
Sandy,
very innocent.
That's another point. I'm hoping, and I don't know about your opinion, but I'm hoping. I mean, I don't think the Republicans are going to give him any leeway that Biden should just go right in and start saying, you know what, I'm not going to get any help from them. I'm going to do all these executive orders. I'll do what I can, and that's it. Executive orders, if you have to, just keep doing it, because they're not. These people are dangerous. So you have to. They're like bullies. You have to come right at them.
People.
They're okay. No, not the Lincoln Project. They're like that. I'm really worried. I'd be more worried about just that guy down the street. You know what I mean? He's the real problem, because we keep saying it's the politician, but they're just they're a mirror. They're projecting images of these people. That the guy down the street, he's just the guy you can't like talk about politics with. We have a friend who lives up the mountains of North Carolina, and there's a guy like 20 feet away with a shotgun, and she can't even say anything about politics. He'll blow her head off.
Jesus.
You
It's
know,
not like that here. I'm in Western New York, even though it's rural and all. I don't think it's
now
quite.
North
There's a
Carolina in the
million
mountains,
Trump signs here, though. I mean, Trump flags,
they're
Trump
out there,
signs, Trump everything. There
right?
was.
But there are liberal areas in North Carolina, but like Asheville and things like that. But
Hmm.
in the mountains there, there's like that's like West Virginia. Those. I mean, like they got the
Well,
corkscrew in their head. You know.
but that's they grew up in a place that keeps electing people that are bad for the place they grew up in, and they're it's a, you know,
They serve the same religion that
yeah.
feeds them pie in the sky. They're going to give you life, after death. I mean, isn't that nice? That's what they gave the African Americans. We're going to give you this religion. Whitey's going to give you a religion, that you can have. We can't give you anything now. We're just going to take from you. You're going to build our country, but we're going to give you something after you die, and you'll be fine. And that's what they did, and it still is. And we're living through the effects of that.
Yeah, I got somebody asking, how many times have you been arrested? Your political commentator, how many times have you been arrested? Maybe he.
How many times have I been
Yeah, like,
arrested?
did you protest and get
I
arrested?
have
How many
never
times?
been arrested. I'm very careful how I say things, even on Facebook. Um, I'm extremely careful, even especially when I was in Russia. I don't intend to get arrested. I had one time where a judge said I was in contempt. He was going to hold me in contempt of court, but the attorney for the other side, had to do with a traffic violation, which I did not do. The officer lied, but he listened to me, and he didn't hold me in contempt of court. That was the closest that I had to anything. I was,
Good.
I'm usually on the right side of the law. I respect law. I want my neighbor to respect, law, and I expect the same out of myself.
Yeah, well, when it goes a little too far, I mean, that's why we have Black Lives Matter movement, because it's gone a little
Well,
bit too
that's true.
far.
That's when you have to, like John Reed used to say, there are times, the things worth living for, and there's things worth dying for. There are times, when, I have to even decide with Dave, what will we do if Trump won the election and then they turn this into a fascist country? Then my life is done, because I'm not going to live like that. But it hasn't happened.
Human says
We're all kind of like that.
all comments can be used in a court of law. You have the right to be silent. Oh my God. Okay, Void
Right.
and Anita says, Void, how many times has the climate scientist been censored? In the last 4 years,
Every
probably
time
a
in Russia,
lot
every time,
in Russia.
in Russia, every single time that climate scientists are censored, they cannot say anything.
Oh my gosh, that's terrible.
Zero. This is the son of a bitch that he is. And then these lackeys, these governors like Orlov in the Arkhangelsk district, he's a son of a bitch. And all the TV stations that, they're like all foxes. Channel 1 in Russia. Nothing
Jeez.
with global warming. It doesn't mean anything. They shut these
That's
people up.
scary. That's really scary. And I think a lot of people don't understand that. They just don't. They guess they hear Russia and right away they're, oh, Russiagate, all that. I can't stand it. All right.
They've never been outside of their own state half the time. How
All
these
right.
people even they've never been out. They got to learn to travel somewhere and find out that America is not the only place in the universe here.
That's true. More importantly, this is from Heidi again. I've been devoted to laws of nature for decades, and I've been working on seeing our government honor laws of nature. How can we ensure that corporations don't override these laws? Well, they already have somewhat, right? But that's interesting, Brian. Do you have a thought
Well,
on her? She's an
um,
activist. Heidi's an amazing activist. Shoo.
number one, that's why you
She
need good
walks
attorneys,
though. Good attorneys. Oh God, right? That's our country.
right?
Litigation,
Um,
litigation. I'd like to get rid of it. There, if you could get rid of on the earth of one thing, what would it be? I'm surprised nobody said lawyers.
well, there's some good lawyers. That's the
I
thing. I
know
sat on a trial last
it's a
year that
joke,
you
Brian.
know, but
Have friends
unfortunately,
that are
there's too many
lawyers.
assholes out there. I mean, that's the problem. And the laws. I mean, look, it can be done, folks. but the laws have to be respected and they have to be enforced. You know, and yeah, Russia exists because of fossil. Right, that's the whole ball game is fuel. That without fuel, they're nothing. But you know what, Sandy? That's another point that I've had many discussions with my Russian contacts, and that is that Putin has robbed the Russian people. You know, they say he's a nationalist, he loves the people, he's a patriot. He's not, because they rely all on oil and holding those industries. If they open Russia up, which has 11 time zones and all kinds of resources, and had a truly free market society and a free society, they'd kick ass. And eventually they probably would have the strongest military in the world. But he doesn't want that. You see what I'm saying? They're a one, ticket ball game here.
Nationalism. They're closed. Yeah, I understand. I
You know,
understand.
Putin, all he cares about is that his MMA guy, Khabib Nurmagomedov, is undefeated against any American. That's all he cares. Or the hockey team will beat our hockey team. That's all. That's his national patriot. But yet, all these patriots in Russia, these oligarchs, they have homes in Italy, or they have their kids study in the United States, and then the rest of the poor bastards that live in Russia have to deal with, living on, $400 a month.
Yeah, in those
And
tenement
that's the
buildings.
shit. And that's when they tell me, look, I know that Trump's horrible, but we've been dealing with this for 80 years, every single goddamn day. And this is
Wow.
the same shit, and you could say, oh, that's Russia. We don't care. Yeah, but they've got 15,000 nuclear warheads, and there's most of the methane there. We don't get any climate change shit done, folks. How about you talk about Extinction Rebellion, which is fantastic. No
Mm-hmm.
chance their ass is in Moscow. Let's see them go over there and see what happens. It won't happen. It won't happen. Okay. We've got to get things done, and we have to force Russia to be part of those accords and do what they have to do, because they're not playing the game fairly over there.
That's sad for those people. I mean, how many countries are like that? A lot of countries are like that, unfortunately. But you happen to know about Russia. Void says he just started Professor Richard Spence, Wall Street and the Russian Revolution, 2017. You ever heard of that book? Not Richard. Oh, Richard Spence, not Spencer, the climate
No, I
change
haven't. I'm
denier.
sorry.
Okay,
I've heard
that's
Rich Spence,
fine.
but no,
That's fine.
no, I've not heard of that.
That's
I
fine.
plead
Who else is
ignorance.
with
Right.
us? Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. Well, I think this has been a really good show. I can't believe I'm sitting here for 2 hours and I'm really not even like, farting around too much. I took a big ass, what is it called? The anti-inflammatory. I know everybody will say, "Oh, it's so bad for you," but it's not for me.
Benadryl or
I
something? No?
No, it's ibuprofen, but it's not for
Okay.
me. Judiciously, a lot of people say to me, "Oh, but you go to doctors, they're poisoning you, they're this, that." No, if I didn't have the help, I would be in bed and I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't even want to live. Okay, so people have to understand that there's a place for everything. I can't get. I mean, I've got now. I don't have an opinion on the vaccine. Okay, I'm at this moment. I am not a scientist. I am not educated on it, but I've already got people writing to me and these are really like normal, wonderful people that have said, "I'm not taking the vaccine. It's not ready. It's a different one. It's got." The comment was about it causes this autoimmune response, and that's not how vaccines are supposed to work. Blah blah. So I mean, there's another thing to learn about. Gosh, there's so much. There's never a dearth of stuff. Never, 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 never.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Karen Reese. Karen from California. Thank God she's all right, man. She was so close to being in the fires. It's just terrible. But Kim says, "See, when you post a good meme, Sandy." Yeah, I got it from Kim. I just thought it was interesting. I think this would be fun to do. Just
By the way, your
wing it.
fans from California, if they could do me one favor, Sandy.
Yes.
Yes, if you see a congressman named Devin Nunes, please kick him in the crotch for me. Okay, you have
There you
my
go.
permission.
You said it nicely. Kick him in the balls. I said it the right way. I love on Twitter with the Devin Nunes's cow and all the jokes
Right.
that people are very funny. I mean,
Right.
even
He
though things
deserves
were
it. He
so
deserves it.
screwed up, Twitter, if you look at Twitter as what it is, it's really just, you could look at Twitter as a big joke place. I've learned not to get so wrapped up in Twitter anymore because it made me sick. Now I just look at it as humorous
What's with
and
that Sydney Powell? You ever seen the way she dresses? What the hell's with her?
oh,
Was she from 1940?
because she's probably you know it's her faith. Let's see. Heidi says,
Oh.
"Re Russia. I went to the Anatoly Grushenko funeral, who plugged the sarcophagus of Chernobyl from his helicopter. Talk about a hero.
Yeah, those are the
I
heroes.
went to thank his
You
widow
bet.
for her star. Heidi, you are so awesome. She's
You bet.
from Maine.
Those are your heroes. Those are the real heroes.
Heidi's my hero. She really does walk the walk. I mean, this woman does everything. She is an activist for so many things that I can't even name it. Right, Heidi? She's just wonderful. Well, anyway, we are going on 2 hours. Unbelievable record for Environmental Coffee House. We don't even do this with Antonio and Nicholas. We don't even
I hope I
ever do
didn't
this.
affect you in the wrong way here. So
I
I
loved it. This was
apologize.
fun.
Okay. I
No,
don't want to draw this
I
out.
think we have a good symmetry here. I
Right.
really do. And
You're easy to
I
speak
have
with.
to say, yeah, and so are you, but I respect you. I have to
Thank
say,
you.
I think about you as the kind of man, you're a role model. You're a good man. You're the kind of man that people should be like.
Well, I
That's how I
appreciate
feel.
that.
You're a
No,
teacher. You're a
but
giver. You're probably an empath. Your wife is very lucky. Hi, Ronnie. So that's cool as
she's an
shit.
excellent, but she would
She's awesome
appreciate
too.
that.
Well,
Yeah,
she's
she's great.
lucky.
She's the number
But
one empath.
she
She is the number one. I mean,
well, at least she's not an empath that attracts covert narcissists.
right.
There's a lot of those. Um, oh, wait. The treatment of Pussy Riot
Pussy Riot,
was
right.
bad. Well,
Yeah, well, you haven't seen it. I'm telling you, they do that to everybody. I mean, anybody who wants to protest and can be a threat to Putin, that's what you're going to face. That's what you're going to, especially now.
Hi, Raza.
And if, by the way, Sandy, if I know we're extending this program here, but if Navalny
who
goes
cares?
back,
It's
he's
fun.
dead
I'm having a great time.
or whatever. I don't know what's going to happen, but yeah, that's a bad situation. He obviously wants to be a martyr. He's like a Martin Luther King over there, and he'll have to be
Who?
like Nemtsov.
Wait,
So
who?
it's
I was typing.
Boris Nemtsov. He died in 2004. He had his
Okay.
head blown off near Red Square, and he was a nuclear physicist who
I remember
was the
that.
opposition leader back then,
I remember that.
and he was he was tremendous. He was absolutely tremendous, and of course they tried to blame it on the Chechens and all, but it was like I said, up to like 2 years ago, it was 71 journalists have been killed. And you don't mess Putin. Everything he says is a lie. Everything he says is a lie.
He's the supreme
such
narcissist.
a liar. Yeah, and you know what? I'm going to end with this because I don't want to keep bugging you with this, but
Not bugging
I'm
me,
still
honey.
pissed off. I don't like Republicans. I didn't like George Bush, but George Bush had a Scottish Terrier that looked exactly like mine. And Putin gave him shit and said, that's no real dog. And Putin had this real large dog. Your dog. He started laughing. And George Bush was upset with him because he loved his dog. It was Mrs. Beasley was one of the names.
Oh,
And
Mrs.
he
Beasley.
laughed at it. He laughed at his dog. That's not a real dog. And my dog fought a large dog and survived it. He was a fighter, and he was a dog 10 times his size, the tough dog. But for him to say that about my favorite animal, especially with like Roosevelt, his favorite animal was his dog. He had him buried next to his feet. If you go down to Washington, Fowler was buried right next to his feet. So Putin's a son of a bitch to say that against Scottish Terriers because he's full of shit. You got to have a big dog to be great. That's Putin. I have nothing against big dogs, but I have somebody talking shit about somebody's dog, and he did that.
Silliness.
So
but we've gone down the road of silliness for the last 4 years. Now, I do have a comment from Gazer. Hi, Gazer. There are a lot of unsung heroes who stopped a worse disaster outcome from Chernobyl, and we never hear about them. We saw the movie that they made here, but that doesn't really, it doesn't.
No, they're still there, Sandy. They're still there with the Shias, the people from Shias who are fighting the landfill. They're doing the same thing, folks. Well, because that landfill's not quite like Chernobyl. That's still pretty bad, and there are people who fight, and they're out there in prison. So
Wow.
you
That's
know,
tough. What are you
he's such a
saying, Kim?
goddamn liar.
Somebody's talking about my edit. I'm not editing this. This was a great time tonight. I'm really glad. I never do a Monday night show. I just was, I felt, I saw that meme. I was sitting in the car coming back from getting my toenails painted. And, you know, in a pandemic, you can wear a mask and get your feet done. But I just got inspired, you know. Plus, I took a shower and my hair was clean. So I said, okay, come on. You know, I'm
I don't
telling
even
you
feel like
this.
I'm live anyway, Sandy, because I'm not. I don't see anything on YouTube. I have no YouTube on. I just have the screen here from Ecamm, so it's as if I'm just talking to you like we would normally talk,
It's
and
great.
here there's like people listening. So who are these people? I don't even know we're
It's
on. As
great. No,
far as
we've
I'm
got
concerned, I'm
40.
only talking to one
We
person
got
right now.
45 people with us. It's wonderful, Brian.
Holy shit!
You're a great person.
I feel like
They got
leaving now.
no, don't intimidate. I mean, you intimidate me a little though with your intelligence, and sometimes I
What?
feel like you do a little bit. I
Oh my
am
god!
not. I'm going to say honestly, Brian, you are extremely well read, and you are extremely
It's
you're
selective reading. It's
intellectual.
selective.
Well, okay, but I just little tiny intimidation. It's okay though because you
Don't,
teach me.
don't,
You're a
don't.
teacher.
No,
You
no,
teach me. You teach me.
no.
Am I
No.
embarrassing you, blah blah?
No. Yeah.
Wait, I got something to show you. This is funny. I came up with, well, my kid found it. Ask
Bubby.
Bubby. And you're
Yeah.
supposed to squeeze it. It was a big joke. But I think the battery died and I never took it out.
What did you say, oi, when she gets squeezed?
I don't know what it said. My daughter has a funny sense of humor.
That's funny.
Pretty funny.
That
You
is
know, my
funny.
kid is amazing as far. Do you know my kid at 14 went down to Asbury Park? She went with her friend's father, and it was a boy. It was a guy. You know, a kid. I knew the parents. They went down for a concert, and my kid went up to the skinheads that had the swastikas and all the shit, and she gave them shit. I mean, she told me, I said, oh my God, you're going to get yourself killed. And you know what? She didn't get herself killed, and she's never shut up to this day. She will always
Good
go
for
up to
her.
people. Well, I get scared for her, but you know what? She's 32. She's grown up. She
She can do what she
but
wants. She's an
she's
adult.
really cool. She's a great kid, and I'm so proud of her. And you know, she's still in college, and I just she's actually following my footsteps. You know, as far as school, I was a late. I mean, I went to school like every decade, got another degree, and that's what kind of what she's doing. And she just pulled through statistics, a high level statistics class. She pulled a
Oh,
B plus. So I mean, I'm happy for her. Uh, but that kid, she had such balls to do that because she was very upset over that skinhead stuff. Plus, at the time, when she was like, I think she started dating Nate, this kid that was he was from the Seneca Nation, a Native American. So she felt 10 years they went out. She felt very protective of him and people being horrible to him because of him being a Native American. So that's where she got it, I guess. But
no, you did a good thing.
my spawn named Dawn. I had one, and then I could tell everybody knows the story with my daughter. When she was young, she just looked at me and said, "Mom, I'm not a breeder," and she's had no kids, but she had a Rottweiler, and that was another tough thing. 2018, I stayed with her dog, and she when they went to Europe for her birthday, 30th birthday. Yeah, that's what I had money. So I helped, gave her a great present, and they went to Europe. I stayed with her dog, the Rottweiler. And when she came home, he started getting sick. And it was so horrible going through this with my daughter and her dog. And I mean, she had a shrine. I had pillows made with his picture and all. It was horrible. But this
You
kid's
deserve
good.
better.
I have a great kid. I'm blessed with a great kid. I mean, she's so great. She can be a real bitch, but she gets a little bit of it from mom, I guess,
Sounds like she should run for office. something.
Well, I've told her things like that, but she just says she doesn't know if she could have the temperament. Although she does. She just doesn't know it. But all right, guys, where are we? We're an hour, 2 hours. Anthony Roz is here. And let's see, more reluctant frontline heroes created in 2020 globally than any time in history. That's an interesting comment. Roz is in the UK. More reluctant frontline heroes. Yeah, right. Heidi, my friend Daniel Blackman is running for Georgia Public Commissioner alongside Reverend Warnock and Ossoff. Mom told me that she would never vote for someone named Bubba, who Daniel is running against. Bubba. That's funny. Well, everybody, 2 hours is great. I'll put on some music so we can end with a little music. Brian, this was so
Thank you
great.
so much.
Yeah.
It's great being on. And thanks,
nothing
Kim, for
planned.
telling me.
Yeah. I think sometimes the best things are not planned.
Well, yeah, if you have the personality for that, it's perfect. So, yeah. Anytime you have anything planned, I'll go on. All right?
Yeah, and I fell asleep and missed your show. I'm so
you'll
sorry.
You'll come on next week or whatever.
I will.
Right?
Oh, boy. It'll be fun with you and Dave.
Yeah.
Sandwich me in the middle, and I'll be... Well,
No.
I'll referee.
All right.
All right,
okay.
guys. Let's listen to some music and peace out. Woo-hoo. Have a good night. We're going to dance. I put some blues. Thank you, everyone. Brian was a great guest. You guys, peace out. Yeehaw. I love y'all. Tomorrow night, Jennifer and me are going to do our end of the year show. Be different than tonight. Bye-bye. Love you.